Welcome to the first, and depending on how much work this is to make, possibly the last episode of A Meal and a Story. I make us a meal and then I tell you a story about a topic that I'm into. We're going to start this one off with one of my favorite topics, comic books. Spider-Man might be the most relatable superhero ever. Teenager, broke, awkward, way too much homework. There's a story that most people don't know about a teenager fan who kind of predicted Spider-Man before he was ever created. Let me introduce you to a kid named Roy Thomas. Back in the early 60s, Roy was just a comic book nerd living in Missouri. He read everything: Superman, Batman, and all the new Marvel stuff. And when he got his hands on one of the first issues of Fantastic Four, he wrote a letter to Marvel. Now, Marvel was starting to print these fan letters into comics, so Roy figured, why not shoot a shot? And in his letter, he basically said, hey, it'd be cool if you created a teenage superhero who's not a sidekick, just a regular kid with powers dealing with school and life stuff like the rest of us. At the time, most teenage heroes were just backups: Robin to Batman, Bucky to Captain America. They didn't lead the story, they didn't have real-world problems. A few months later, after that letter came in, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko introduced the world to Spider-Man. Peter Parker, teenager, loner, genius, disaster of a social life. He wasn't saving the day with a perfect smile. He was trying to survive high school and Aunt May's medical bills. Did Stan Lee read Roy's letter and think, that's it? No one really knows, but the timing is eerily close. And here's the part that blows my mind. The same Roy Thomas, he ended up working for Marvel just a few years later. And not as some intern. He wrote Avengers, X-Men, Conan the Barbarian, created characters like Carol Danvers, who would later become Captain Marvel. Eventually, he became Stan Lee's protege. And when Stan stepped down as editor-in-chief, Roy took the reins. From fan mail to leading the entire Marvel universe. And that's an origin story even Peter Parker would be proud of. Makes you think. One letter, one idea, one kid with a big imagination can literally shape the world.